Elisheva and I don't watch a lot of television, but we know enough to know that there's a presidential election coming up and the campaigns are in full swing. That brings to mind a 2008 campaign commercial which aired with the following words. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and your children are safe and asleep, but there's a phone in the White House and it's ringing. Who do you want answering the call? We didn't quite grow up in the White House. We grew up in the glass house. We dressed nicely, we didn't throw stones, and for over 40 years, our dad has answered your call. Parashat Pekudei was about the building and completion of the tabernacle. It's a parasha about the importance of fabrics woven together to make something holy. One Chumash in its commentary points out that until every part of the tabernacle was in place, no individual part had the status of a tabernacle. When Temple Beth El brought in a young rabbi and his family almost 41 years ago, you allowed us to become part of your tabernacle to enjoy the holiness that came from being a part of your extended family. Obviously, our dad is something special. His rabbi, Dr. Robert Gordis, served his congregation for 37 years. His mentor, Rabbi I. Usher Kirschblum, served his congregation for 32 years. We're celebrating our dad this year for all he's given to this community for the past 40 years. And to think, he had no plans to stay.
It's incredible to think about all he's given you.
Stevie Wonder,
Vanna White,
Oscar the Grouch,
Christy Yamaguchi,
Elvis.
He's given you infusions of spirituality after a powerful trip to Uganda, where I'm not sure if the more unbelievable part was the hundreds of conversions performed in such a short time span, or the fact that he swung from banana trees. He's given you tea and Talmud, senior dinners, Perm Carnival sponge tosses, healing services, new music, beautiful concerts, cabbage, and so much time and love. Now, while this weekend and this year are about celebrating our Father, we know you'll agree that this congregation wouldn't be what it is today without our mother. More than just fancy hats and sweet and sour meatballs, you've benefited from our mom's guidance, pastoral counseling, substitute parenting, and her many years of educational experience. And just as our parents have given so much to you, so too you have given so much to our Father and to us for the past 40 years. The community supporting a sabbatical to learn in Israel, the person who shoveled the entire path from our house to the shul after a huge snowstorm, so our father, recovering from back surgery and confined to a wheelchair, could make it to shul on Shabbos morning. The many, many people who've had the opportunity to accompany him to the hospital after tripping on the sidewalk or slicing his finger or breaking anything. The people who've pinch hit with things that a handy person might be able to fix in his own home. And that Parsha reference in the beginning, we can't think of our Father without thinking of Temple Beth El. The two are inextricably linked and have been woven together to create something remarkable and beautiful.
But what about us? It was the good fortune of Ellie, CJ, and I to have been raised not only by our mom and dad, but by this community who acted in loco parentis. People who helped teach us to drive,
Who called to check on us in New York when national disaster struck,
who took us to visit colleges,
who taught us what to tip a cab driver,
who handed us chumashim in shul and told us it was time to start paying attention.
There are so many stories and so much we owe this congregation. In the interest of time, we'll spare you, but just know that we know and we remember. 20 years ago, the great Rochelle Siegel gave me the opportunity to share what it was like to grow up as a rabbi's daughter. Life in a glass bowl. My thinking has evolved over the years. How can I explain it? Well, you've heard of the bakery, right? Maybe one or two stories. Temple Beth El, for this generation of glass kids, you are our bakery. The family business, what the family revolved around, where we learned life's greatest lessons, and in many ways, the additional member of our family. You're part of our story. We're woven together.
Around the time of my bat mitzvah, my father interviewed at another congregation in what was, to Ellie, CJ, and I, a really geographically desirable location. But it became obvious that we might not be happy there. In fact, we would likely have been miserable there. And so I said, and he told you this when we celebrated our 25th year here, if we're going to be unhappy, we might as well be unhappy here. But I want you to understand, if you don't already, that it can be challenging to grow up observant of Shabbat in a community where Shabbat is observed so differently. And it can be hard to keep kosher in a town where there aren't really any kosher restaurants. But you are our family, and this is our home. And so our father stayed in this real congregation. Pekudei was the last parasha that we read in the book of Exodus. And so when the Torah reading ended, we stood and we chanted together, Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek. Be strong, and you will be strengthened. We say these words as we finish each book in the Torah. It's said that the first Chazak is for the individual. The second Chazak is for the community. And that brings us back to the theme of our parasha from today and the importance of the whole and of interwovenness. Chazak, may you be strengthened. Chazak, may the community you guide, comfort, counsel, and inspire be strengthened. V'nitchazek, and may you all bring forth holiness into your sanctuary, into your tabernacle together.